Now, my wife's last month in the intensive care unit at UCLA Medical Center was an atrocious time for her, and I've never really gone over a whole lot in detail because I don't think it's really germane to get into that kind of detail. But I will a little bit because I wanted to use it as a deterrent for people who are either recovering alcoholics and they realize they don't want to go down that road, or for people who are thinking about being in recovery, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, if you keep going down the same road. If this is the first time seeing me again, I was married to my wife for 25 years, and unfortunately she passed away from alcohol use disorder a little over 4.5 years ago. And I tell stories, okay, about her life. Now, her last month, and this is really the third video in the series, was really atrocious. The first time I visited her, my brother came out from Vermont, lived in South Burlington, and I mean, it took him like a day to get to Southern California. There's not an easy way because it's a small town. I picked him up in San Diego, and the next day we drove into L.A. So it was pretty arduous for him, and I always appreciated that he did that. But when we got there, Amanda wasn't really. I mean, she was under heavily medication. She had, probably 10 machines hooked up. She was on kidney dialysis, and I think they had already done a couple operations on her. They had to keep going in, into her system and clean up her organs because there was so much infection because she had fallen down a flight of stairs in her 7th rehabilitation facility, and there was a lot of infection that was in her kidneys and her pancreas and her liver, and it was affecting her heart with all the stress. And ultimately, they were very concerned for that. They were concerned for her blood pressure. They were concerned for 100 different reasons. But the one thing that I found very poignant, and I'll tell you in a second. And there was one point where my brother and I were in the room, and we're the only ones there. I'm sure we were the first people to visit her, and she'd been in there for almost 10 days at this point. And it was sad. It was just, I was just looking at her, just like, this, God, how'd we get here, But she was in wicked pain, even though she was heavily meditated. I remember one time she literally raised her whole body up off the hospital bed and was just writhing in pain and screaming. I mean, screaming like ah. And I to this day I don't know what was going on. She didn't know I was there. It had nothing to do with me. There was something physically very, very wrong, and they immediately up whatever they did. They upped her dose in her IV, and she went right back down. But there was something seriously wrong, and it was really startled me. In fact, I remember walking back to the nurse's station, and I had a conversation. And my brother followed me too. My brother's older than me. He's 5 years older than me. And I walked back to the nurse's station, and I said, "Where's the doctor? And I think we need to talk about this." And the doctor was also there. She was a younger doctor. I mean, there was lots of doctors coming in and out. And I said, "What are we doing here? I don't think you guys are going to save her. Okay, I really don't. And she doesn't have any quality of life. And do we need how long do we need to prolong this?" It has nothing to do with me, but I just can't stand seeing her like this anymore. And, their genuine answer, I mean, they're doctors. They got to do what they got to do. And they said, no, we're not there yet. I think we're going to be able to clean up some of the infection. She has a very good chance at survival. Her heart's still okay. But there's some more avenues that we need to check. And I just kind of went, okay. I mean, I was pretty nonplussed about the whole thing. My brother, on the other hand, was kind of like, Andy, it's too early. You can't go there yet. I'm like, I'm there now. I just hate to see her have to go through, any more of this. It was really sad. And unfortunately, I was actually right. Because I went again about 10 days later. My sister flew in from Florida, and she was completely comatose then. There was a moment where she woke up for about 30 seconds, and I was standing next to her, and her eyes actually woke up, and she looked at me, and she looked at my sister, and my sister kind of went like this, and she was like, she had a tracheotomy, she couldn't talk, but she looked at my sister like, wow, I must really be in trouble if your sister flew out from Florida. And she kind of looked like that, and she looked at me, and she kind of looked at me like uh-oh, and I just said, I love you. I voiced, that, and she just kind of went, and that was the last conversation we ever had. And I've made, many other videos about the very, very end. But I mean, she passed away 5 days later, and we had to run down there. There wasn't a whole lot of time, and it was a sad time. And I tell this. The number one reason why I tell this is a deterrent for alcoholics and for families, and for it to resonate with other families. The last thing I want to do is disparage anybody, but very few people talk about this. And this is the end for someone who is a late stage alcoholic. There's no way around this. I mean, we will break our bodies down, because alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen, and it will break down our organs. It will break down not just your liver, your pancreas, your kidneys, your heart, your intestinal tract, your eyes, your skin, and your brain, just to name a few. It also causes several different kinds of cancer, but no one will tell you that at the liquor store, and I really hope that helps. And again, I want to point out her memoir is out now. It's called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. You can pick it up, pre-orders, right in my link tree. Go to the link tree in my bio, open up my website. It's the third one down. Just open it up, and the PayPal link to purchase is right there. All the pre-orders are actually going out tomorrow, so it's December 12th is the day. It'll also be on Amazon officially, I hope. I've been promised on Amazon tomorrow as well. So tomorrow's kind of D-Day. It's kind of exciting. But we've done pretty well already. I released this about 6 days ago just on my website, because they knew there was a lot of interest, and we did that. We did the pre-orders, but they're going out tomorrow. I just want to point that out. Again, I go live Monday through Friday right around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And again, thanks so much for listening.